Now, hi Last Claudians, this is Zez here, and once again another Last Claudia video. Now, I just dropped a newsletter after quite some time. I miss them. That aside, the 27th May update is gonna be packed with news characters, events, quality of life things, and possibly more story. Now, in this video, I'm gonna be talking a little bit more in depth of what I think what's to come. Now, before I continue, putting it out there that I really appreciate all the comments made on my videos, and for those of you who have yet to subscribe to my channel, do consider giving the video a like if you found it useful, as it will help me put out more of such videos. Without further ado, let's go! First up, we are going to be having two new Descent of Hero characters, Baran and Rabala. Now I'll be going through quickly a first look at them. They are the last two of the 4 Lord of Ruins, and spoiler alert, I'm speculating that they are actually Lilibet's mom and dad.
I need another mommy.
It's gonna be an emotional roller coaster if that's gonna be the case, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. Now, having 2 units out at the same time in Descent of Heroes isn't a new thing, but I'm having trouble understanding why though. I think that there's only once when we had Eliza and Lanceville, but that was when we were trying to catch up with JP. Now, are they trying to rush content cause there's just so much more coming? I definitely hope so. Alright, so Barran, a neutral elemental unit. Now, looks really badass. S1 looks to be a melee, but does seem to have a huge AoE in front of him. Also with a decent number of hits, has a rather slow animation, which is great. I'll talk about that later on in the video. Now, S2 looks to be a ranged skill, and it's like a hook. Very interesting skill as it will deal AoE damage and hook back his target, much like a longer version of Nero's S2. I can see this being really good in Arena. Now, S3 is a little bit tough to make out. We see here is melee range, but most heroes will have either a gap closer or a skill that can target anywhere on the map. And my take on it after looking at the description is he pulls units in and then pushes them out. A little like Ruto's S1. It also has a chance to apply 2 debuffs, Curse and Silence, which are very devastating for opponents, physical damage dealers and spellcasters alike. Now, one more thing, it looks and feels much like Lilibet's S2. Hint hint. Now, this ultimate is just so cool. It will not only deal damage, but also buffs himself with physical damage and SCT. Damn. Looking at his traits, Unscathed increases damage cap by 4000, and the lesser HP he has, the more damage he deals. Now, similar team with SR Medine, but he's actually tanky. I mean, you can definitely run him as a tank, and the difference from Ruto is that he's actually deals damage. Oh yeah, by the way, he also is gonna be a god and a knight, so a knight team would be cool. Ophidian Blade prevents him from being flinched while he's using his skills. This is similar to Roland's trait, and in my opinion, it's a really good mechanic. Coupled with SM Theria's barrier, he can potentially become an unstoppable force. Adding on to that, he also lifesteals based on damage dealt. And now I need to start thinking of who do I replace in my arena. Oh yeah, his passive skills Runation is a spell. So that means that he needs to cast it to gain the 10 SCT and increase skill damage by 25% at the expense of some HP. Now, this is pretty cool self-sustain as he can recover additional SCT, and also the HP consumption works well in reducing his HP as he works best at low HP. Now, this also means that if you are gonna be running him as a DPS, you will not want skills like Pride and Adore on him, as he will most likely be not at full HP. Now, I can also see another way of playing him, which is more like a tanky attacker. Then that'll be a different scenario. So probably this has a 40-second duration. Blade Breach adds a chance for extra hit on the opponent with status ailment. Now, decent potential additional damage if his S3 actually procs. Now, he fit in well as a tanky attacker in your status ailment team. So Vampiric Drain gives him a big STR buff. Now I believe this goes on top of Brave skills as he already has Life Brave. Making him a main DPS is gonna be pretty fun. Now damage cap might be an issue though. Now Deadlands allows him to deal more damage to enemies close to death. Now I see this very useful as it will be a decent counter to Kyle's barrier as Baran is able to break through it much quicker. Zero Theorem increases 1k damage cap, 1000 damage cap. So far it's 5000 damage cap for him and he gets Ruination automatically. Now Sword Mega Boost. Equipping a sword gives him additional 30% physical damage and a 2000 damage cap, bringing up his cap to 7000. Now the new power creep or boost has arrived, guys. If this becomes a teachable skill, it's gonna be awesome, especially the damage cap. However, it will be costly though. Now, Weapon Break gives him a chance to debuff the opponent and weaken their physical damage by 20%, which also means making it more difficult for him to be killed. Now, I'm not going to be going through the rest of the skills, but just looking at this kid, he is gonna be a powerhouse. Not only is he a neutral elemental character, he does have a lot of power skills inbuilt in him. Of course, there are some good ones missing, like Sword High Boost and Dual Wield, but that's not going to be holding him back too much. I will be going more in depth when he actually comes into the game, so if you want to be notified, consider subscribing to the channel. Now next we have Rabala. With her S1, I believe she has to be in line with the target and does a short tornado. Nothing too impressive there. S2 is AoE around her, pretty common skill for casters to protect themselves. S3 I believe can be casted anywhere on the map. The important thing about this skill is the earth resistance down. She will be a valuable character in earth teams for that. And I like the number of hits and you translate to her trait proccing more, and I'm a fan of its animation. So you will notice there's a delay of hits near the very end. Now her ultimate deals damage to all enemies and has a chance to lower base stats. Now unsure if it stacks with our usual debuffs like Lostomia and Drain, and it seems like there's a chance for each stat, so it's not applied all at once. Now I don't like that RNG nature. I'd rather be casting an actual debuff myself. But then again, it may stack with debuffs though. I'll let you guys know when I find out. Now traits. Netherworld Resonance gives her 40% more earth damage and a 5000 damage cap. Now what's this? Also boosts earth damage? Bad wording most likely. I'm guessing the second part is for each sorceress in the stage. So it adds more damage and cap to her. This means her damage boost can potentially go up to 65% earth damage and 10k damage cap. That's if there are 5 sorcerers in total, excluding her. Now I would not expect to see that full amount proc, as that would mean you running all sorcerers and the enemy has to have 2. Well, I'm not shutting down the idea of running a full sorcerers team, and I think it's kinda cool. But needing the opponent to run 2, okay, maybe, since there's SM Theria and Gen or Sage Seekers. But then again, that's only an arena, and the 10,000 damage cap most likely won't be useful anyways. So Wicked Tempers allows her earth attacks to have a chance to inflict exsanguinate. Wow, the wordings are getting longer and longer. So it's a debuff that makes opponents lose HP when using skills and increases damage dealt to them by 40% and chance to absorb HP from the damage dealt. Now that's a nice debuff. Initially I was thinking it will apply to your whole team, but I kind of feel like it makes more sense to only work for her. Now we have to see when she's out. Now looking at her passives, Giga High Lostomia gives a huge debuff to Int. Now very useful in PvE situations. Earth Mega Boost. This is the magic equivalent of Baran's Sword Mega Boost. Now 30% Earth magic damage and 2000 damage cap. Now this bumps her damage cap to base 7000 without having any other sorcerers. Now Divine Wind gives -20 attribute resist down on all enemies and reduces damage taken by allies from thunder attacks. Now very nice further reduction of enemy resist. Not sure if it will stack with other resist down skills. I believe it won't. She does have Giga Weak on her, so that's probably it. Now additionally, the thunder damage down is a big DB ray counter. from instant deletion. Now Mind Pierce allows her magic to have a chance to halve enemies' MND and deal damage. So this is a nice PvE skill similar to Sage Zekka's. I see her as a support and a very good Earth mage. Now unlike Sage Zekka's having multi-elements, she is very locked onto Earth. So her mage capabilities are kinda limited aside from stages that are weak to Earth. Now that doesn't mean that she's totally useless otherwise. Her supporting abilities does make her as a very good support too. Now if you don't have Gen or SM Theria, my condolences. Another good thing about that is her debuffs like Giga High Drain, Giga Weak applies to all enemies, which are costly in terms of SC and very easy to apply. Now that makes her potentially good in Arena, giving the Grand Cross spams, and also weakening opponents at the same time with those debuffs. Now more on her when she comes around. Now her Gear Polis, her Gyo, wait, how did kids say it? Okay, anyways, gives Night Mimicry. Night teams incoming. Now durability is a pretty good skill in my opinion. I like this skill the most in this arc. Now why is that, you ask? Minus 10% physical damage scales better in terms of taking damage wise at the very high end, as it reduces the final damage calculations. Plus we already have a lot of skills which increases defense stats of units, which does have diminishing returns. Now the movement speed down is perfect for a tank, as I prefer him to stay away from my damage dealers while he's taking all the hits. Now Grand Fort is a big buff to defense and armor high boost is finally teachable. Now lastly, let's talk about the arc attributes. It's only gonna work on knights, but you do have Night Mimicry on this arc, so that isn't gonna be an issue. Now it recovers 5 SCT at battle start. Okay, decent. Now this second part is rather confusing. So once again, it might be the wording or it's just my poor understanding. I'm gonna try. So if the unit wears armor, the unit is gonna get another 5 SCT. So 10 SCT in total. Now unit is less likely to faint and increases attraction when above 50% HP. Loses that attraction but gains 30% defense and MND when below 50% HP. Now this arc is of course meant for tanks. At this point Ruto comes to mind. Now I would feel it suits him better as it gives him more SCT to start forcing opponents to hit him with his S2. However, I'm still liking Beast of the End arc on him, which of course is a limited collaboration arc. Now for everyone else who doesn't have that arc, this is potentially very good arc option on your tanks other than Ancient Weapon Logan. Now we can't see the Arc Eater reward. We do need more tank accessories, so I'm guessing it's gonna be one. Moving on to the events, we will be having a 4 Lords attack, which we will be facing the 4 Lords and getting limited gear. Now you most likely want to farm this even after getting the gear, as what I understand is these gears can be upgraded with materials from farming these stages. Now Antakison says that they are going to be quite powerful, so I'm going to take his word for it. Now I'm not sure if this will be a solo only or does it have multiplayer element. Now it would be cool if it's multiplayer. Now we also have a returning event of one of my favorite units, Zarkless. Now for all of you who have yet to know his story, enjoy! Now next on the improvements on the game, we'll be getting upgrades on tours, which I don't know how many of you actually do it regularly, but increasing the AP gain I feel would provide more incentives for new players to play it. But I feel the most important change they can do is actually the loading. Now it just feels so bad when I complete a tour and start one, as I feel like I'm stuck for so long on those screens, you know. Now I hope IDIS can make tours a smoother experience, and that in my opinion would get more people doing it. Now there's also going to be changes to friend points, so good news to mainly the new players to get more materials and having more friends. Now lastly, improvement to Arena is great news, as there are a lot of complaints about the mechanics, the meta and such. Now it's going to be a difficult task, but I'm happy that they are communicating that they are working on solutions. Now one of it, I would say, personally, is shortening the time for mainly the heal spells, like for example God Heal and Stardust Heal. Now that would be a great and big improvement for me. Now do comment in the comment section down below on what changes you would like to see in Arena. I'd love to know. Now last but not least, we have another new character. I just can't believe it. IDIS is giving us so much of what's to come, and oh boy, this Glutton looks fantastic. Now he just had that dragon at the back as a snack. Now what I really want to know is what exercise regime did he go through? I mean, obviously he's not cutting down on food, that's for sure, right? Now alright guys, this is it for me for this video, and I do hope that you like the content. Thank you all for watching, and I'ma see you guys next time. Stay safe, Xez here, signing out.